For the best experience, I invite you to watch this slideshow on a larger screen like a laptop or tablet. The journey begins with some difficult moments, but I hope you'll stay with me until the end because the hope that follows shines brightest when you've seen the whole story. This is dedicated to my parents. Mom and Dad, thank you for your sacrifices, your unconditional love, and your unwavering support. For 25 years, you have stood by me through every high and low of this journey. I am who I am today because of your strength, your guidance, and your endless belief in me. I love you so much. When I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a teacher, a wife and mom, and owning a home with a white picket fence. Little did I know then that those dreams would never come true. By the late 90s and 2000, I was active, healthy, and happy. I had a new boyfriend, became an aunt twice, and graduated college. I was working as a pharmacy technician at Long's Drug Store and began my teaching career at Hayes Elementary School. I was setting up my classroom just 4 weeks before my hopes and dreams were shattered. September 21st, 2000, back to school night. The floor was mopped, but there were no warning signs, no cones, just one preventable fall that changed my life forever. September 22nd, 2000 would be the last time I would ever step foot in that school. The last time I would ever be a school teacher. The last time I'd be able to drive for the next 13 years. What we all thought was an easily treatable torn meniscus in my knee turned out to be so much more complicated. The knee pain was all-consuming, so I didn't realize until later that I had also torn 2 discs in my lower back and sprained my right hip. The parade of treatments began. At first, I was happy to have friends stop by to visit, but as my pain increased, I began to self-isolate. The pain and swelling increased until I couldn't tolerate wearing jeans or shoes, and even the touch of bed sheets became unbearable. When I saw the orthopedic surgeon again, I didn't want him to touch my knee because of the severe pain. He and his colleagues suspected I had reflex sympathetic dystrophy, or RSD. RSD, now called Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, or CRPS, is a neurological disorder causing burning pain, bone and skin changes, swelling, sweating, and extreme sensitivity to touch. CRPS is ranked a whopping 42 out of 50 on the McGill Pain Scale. It's one of the most painful conditions known to modern medicine. I endured dozens of treatments. Many were invasive, some were experimental. Most were excruciating, leaving me in recovery for weeks. I loved being Auntie Shell, but I was missing out on so much time with my niece and nephew due to my inability to travel out of state because of severe pain. Whether at home or away, I now required constant access to a caregiver, my medications, pillows, cushions, soft blankets, a walker, wheelchair, and more. My CRPS began spreading. As my pain continued to escalate, so did my disability and my need for more help, treatments, and medications. I was using opioids, muscle relaxers, antidepressants, anti-seizure pills, topicals, and even fentanyl patches, plus more to counter the side effects. 39 pills, 11 times a day, around the clock. I was so medicated that I would fall asleep while talking, while eating, while on my laptop. I developed short-term memory loss, a disappearing personality, extreme fatigue, migraines, dizziness, nausea. Opioid-induced constipation sent me to the ER countless times for hours on end. It was humiliating, agonizingly painful, and it is an all too common experience that is rarely spoken about. I suffered such severe medication-induced hallucinations that for months I had to sleep between my parents because of severe post-traumatic stress. In my first pain management class, one of the facilitators, a psychologist, became a lifeline for me in those early years of my journey. Years were passing by. I was living in my childhood bedroom, mostly bedridden, unable to work, drive, date, or even take care of myself. I began to wear shorts year-round due to allodynia. I walked with a blanket in front of my leg to protect it from the air. I would often go barefoot or wear 2 different sized slip-on shoes due to the swelling and pain in my foot. I lived in constant pain, yet always put on a smile for the world. Only my parents knew the full extent of my suffering. Over the years, due to lack of mobility, medications, and an eating disorder, I gained over 100 pounds. In order for me to attend an 8-week integrated pain management program, Mom and I began spending weekdays at a hotel near the hospital in order to avoid daily, painful car rides. I made some real functional improvements, but I was still in severe pain, confined to a wheelchair the majority of the time, and extremely medicated. Fate stepped in when I was forced to find a new in-network doctor. I really liked and trusted my lawyer, so I went with the doctor that she suggested. After an extensive evaluation, I entered inpatient detox in order to be switched from opioids to Suboxone, newly approved to treat chronic pain. After weeks of hell on earth, I entered the 8-week Functional Restoration Program, or FRP. I was terrified. How was I going to make it through such an intensive program when I could barely stand or walk, and I could only sit for a few minutes at a time? But I was desperate and determined to make this program work for me. I participated in occupational therapy, doctor's lectures, wellness classes, physical therapy, art therapy, educational group therapy, and lectures on nutrition, sleep hygiene, mindfulness, stress reduction, and communication. My life truly began to change during those 8 weeks. I had hope again, but I still had a lot of work to do, both physically and emotionally. After graduating from the FRP, I made it a priority to keep using the clinic's gym equipment as a way to keep growing stronger. I also took part in every aftercare class and event the clinic offered as a way to push forward in my recovery. For example, art therapy support groups, group meditation, crochet group, adapted Zumba class, open art studio, patient holiday boutiques, and patient art shows. Over time, I learned how to walk again, climb stairs, improve my balance, and decrease my CRPS medications down to 2. The next few years after I graduated from the FRP were filled with highs and lows. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and migraine disease, and I had an increase in my CRPS symptoms. Despite my challenges, I was able to move into my own apartment. I then became the adopted mom to an adorable fur baby that I named Tati, short for Tatiana. After 13 years, an extensive driving evaluation, training to drive with a left foot accelerator, and a modified new car, I was finally able to drive again. One heartbreaking challenge has been the loss of friends along the way. They couldn't handle how the pain changed me, and they walked out of my life. But there were new friends. Some were friends from childhood re-entering my life. A few of my closest friends are ones I've never met in person, only through Zoom calls and phone conversations. But there is one friend who knew me before my chronic pain journey began and has been there to support me with understanding and compassion every step of the way. I began to speak one-on-one with patients living with CRPS and became a regular speaker on the graduate panel for the FRP. With the help of pain management tools, mobility aids, and doctor's authorizations that allowed me to rest in first aid centers, I was able to travel again. For example, I visited Disneyland with a scooter and Bonfante Gardens with a wheelchair. My first big trip was flying from California to Ohio with Dad to attend my cousin's wedding. I missed some parts of the festivities, but I made it to the wedding. Despite my often debilitating pain, I began to feel like I was finding my light again. Having my story featured in the 2015 issue of the Invisible Project magazine set me on the path to new hopes and dreams. I attended the Real Hope Real Heroes Gala in New Jersey. My participation in the Invisible Project led me to the U.S. Pain Foundation, where I attended the Advocacy Summit and became a volunteer ambassador. I joined Pain Awareness Month efforts by taking part in the Light Up the Landmarks and Beautify in Blue campaigns, as well as sharing materials with my doctor. I partnered with volunteers to secure proclamations nationwide and spoke at city council meetings across the San Francisco Bay Area. In 2017, I was honored as Ambassador of the Year, proof that even while doing much of my volunteer work from bed, I was still making a difference. I attended several RSD conferences and awareness walks for RSD and CRPS. I attended advocacy summits, team building events, and Invisible Project galas, and the Chronic Pain Peer Support Group Leader Training. I truly found my place in the world when Noelle and I started the California Support Group and later stepped up to lead a national group. Today, I carry that purpose forward by running 3 virtual groups each month on my own. Having learned how to use my voice, I wanted to help others find their voice, so I became the patient engagement lead at the U.S. Pain Foundation. Working alongside others at U.S. Pain, people who live with pain themselves, has shown me the impact we are making. Advocacy through the U.S. Pain Foundation and the Alliance for Headache Disorders Advocacy has become my passion and has restored my sense of purpose. But what fills my heart and soul more than anything else, and what fuels my advocacy efforts, is the work I do with Pain Connection and our support groups. I had the opportunity to facilitate support groups at Retreat Migraine and helped raise awareness by participating in Shades for Migraine. I also participated in the last 2 virtual Headache on the Hill and will be participating again next month. I've had the pleasure of speaking at Vertex Pharmaceuticals and the American Society for Pain Management Nursing Conference. Pain is invisible. I've learned to fake being fine. When I can't fake it, I disappear. And just a reminder, there's no such thing as a simple acute injury for the medically complex patient. Those acute injuries often turn chronic. It's been a long journey filled with a lot of physical and emotional pain, but also a lot of joy. What happened to me 25 years ago was devastating and destroyed my hopes and dreams. But today, on the anniversary of that tragic day, I choose to be grateful for the blessings that have come out of that tragedy, celebrate the love of my sisters, family, and friends, and be proud that I've found a way to make a difference in this world despite a never-ending pain journey. I feel truly blessed to be surrounded by a large, loving family, including aunts, uncles, and cousins, and an incredible network of friends. Even though not everyone is pictured in this slideshow, please know that each of you has played an important role in my journey, and I carry your love and support in my heart every day. Thank you for walking alongside me in my journey. If my story brought you hope, please like and share it so together we can raise awareness and remind others living with pain that they are never alone.